Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Ann Birchard, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today we're going to make this pretty birthday wishes birthday card using Emboss Resist. So let's make a card. I'm going to start off using the Butterfly Wishes stamp set. I'm going to use the branch, this large butterfly, and that butterfly. I've already set it up in my Stamparatus. And I'm going to be using Whisper White cardstock cut at 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm going to go back in after I stamp and emboss and trim it down to 3.75 by 5. So let's place this in, put the magnet down, and I'm going to be using Versamark. This is a sticky ink pad that allows the embossing powder to stick. You can also use it for watermark. So if you want to do a tone on tone of a darker cardstock, you could stamp on this, and it's just a really pretty technique. So let's ink up our stamps. And if you notice, I'm using the stamp case underneath the door, so I have a nice flat platform. And I think that's plenty. And before I close the door, you want to use your Embossing Buddy. It's kind of like a talcum powder, but it makes sure that the embossing powder only sticks where you want it to stick. Set that aside and give it a massage. Use my towel. Get a good impression. There we go. And I'm going to do it one more time, just for good luck. Oops. All right, I've got a good impression. Now, I'm going to take this over to my embossing station, and I'm going to cover it with clear embossing powder and then heat it. When you heat it, you want to make sure you heat from the bottom and the top, and that prevents your cardstock from warping. So I'll be right back. All right, I am done embossing, and hopefully you can see it. You can tell when the embossing powder has melted because it's going to turn from the powder into this nice, clear, glossy, almost smooth texture. I wanted to show you how I keep my embossing powder. I just get this one's a Rubbermaid container, and that way everything is there. After I put the Versamark ink in, I can just scoop it on, tap off the excess, and I don't have to worry about pouring it back into the little pots. It's all one and done. I like it. All right, so let's set this aside. We're done with this. Now we're going to be using, I like to use the makeup brushes. Sponges are great. The sponge daubers are perfect. Any way to get the ink onto the card will work. I'm going to be using Blushing Bride, and I'm going to load up my brush, and I'm going to start in the center of the image and just apply some ink. There's one. And a bit too much on that one, but that's okay. It's homemade. It's not Hallmark. And then the branch. So you could use any color here. I just happen to pull out the Blushing Bride. Now, after you've gotten it as dark as you want it, or as light, you're going to take a rag, close this up because you know I'm going to put my finger in it. Take a rag, a paper towel, and you're going to buff off that ink. That embossing powder is resisting any ink. There you go. I'm going to add the sentiment birthday wishes, And I'm going to be using the Momento Tuxedo black ink. And I'll put it right here. I like to hold it down, let the fibers in the cardstock absorb the ink. And then I'm going to go through, set that aside. I'm going to go through and I'm going to trim this down now that I've got my stamping done. And I'm going to change it to 5 by 3 3/4. Let's take off this edge. And with that, and then I have a piece of Blushing Bright cardstock, and this I've cut to 5 1/4 by 4. Use our Snail Adhesive. Again, doesn't have to be hurricane proof, just 7-year-old proof. And I'm going to make sure I have an equal frame all the way around. And now I'm going to add some ribbon. Grab some ribbon from my stash. Add adhesive to the back. Push the ribbon in there. Spin it around. Off you go. Let's see if that's even. That looks great. Trim it. And then I'm going to make a bow. Now, instead of going around front to back, I'm going to go back to front. It's a little awkward for me, but when you do that, it's going to lay flatter on the card. And that's what you want, so it can go through the mail. Oh, hello. I can do this. I'm struggling. Where'd it go? I'm starting over. This is real life, people. I know how to make a bow. Here. Nice bow. Go around the back. Into the hole. Pull on the bunny's ears. Make it flat. See, just had to take my time with it. And then pull it. Let's trim that off. There we go. Set that aside. And I'm going to be using mini dots to adhere it. There's one. Place it on. Let's go right there. Then you can adjust your bow. And I've got glue dots stuck on my finger, so guess what? You're going on the back. Ha. Not quite finished. Let's add some bling. And this time I'm going to be using the Pearl Basic Jewels. Remember, with embellishments, you always want an odd number. I'm going to be using the Take Your Pick tool. And let's emphasize the birthday wish here. That one's stuck to my finger. And done. Then grab Whisper White, cut at 5 1/2. You can either score at 4 1/4 or just fold it in half. Line up the edges, press it, give it a good burnishing. Bring back my Snail Adhesive. And then add it to the front. Make sure it's opening the correct way. Ask me how many times I've done it where it's upside down. There we go. Ta-da! There you have it. Today's technique using Emboss Resist. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. I try to post new videos every Friday. In the description box below is a list of all the supplies that I used and also a link to my 24/7 store. Thank you so much and have a great day.